Welcome to Wise Old Goats. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel to be notified on future releases. Become a wise old goat by increasing your awareness and understanding of life.
Jordans Belfort straight line sales method. Jordans Belfort famously said that every sale is the same. You can use this system to sell any product or service successfully. Every sale is the same because the same three key elements must line up in any prospect's mind before you have a shot of closing the deal or getting the sale. Jordans Belfort's straight line sales method comes down to the 3 10s. The first 10 is the product, the second 10 is you, and the third 10 is the company or brand. We use the word 10 because it refers to the gauge from 1 to 10 on the certainty or confidence level of the customer in the product, you and the company selling the product. If you strike a 10 out of 10 on these three areas, then you seal the deal, you get the sale. However, if you score a lower score, then the sale may not be successful. This sales method allows you to focus on the areas of the sale that really matter in getting yes. So to clarify, 1 out of 10 means absolute uncertainty, and 10 out of 10 being absolute certainty. The first 10 is the product or service. In essence, your prospect must be absolutely certain that they love your product. The customer must think your product is the best thing since sliced bread. The first step in the straight line system is to persuade and convince that your product is what they need. You want to get the customer as close to absolutely certainty as you can, or in the ballpark. 1 to 4 on the certainty scale is when your customer is not certain in your product. 1 would mean that they think your product is a piece of shit. 3 or 4 is when they think your product is okay, but it's way overpriced or the quality of the finish is crappy. So they are not fully convinced and a sale at this point is impossible. 5 on the certainty scale is when your customer is sitting on the fence. They have a big sign on their forehead saying, "I can't make my mind up, please help me and persuade me a little more on why I should buy this product." Keep in mind that you have a 50-50 chance and it could go either way at this point. 7 on the certainty scale is when your customer thinks the product is good, not quote great, which is a 10. However, the customer is convinced about the product you're offering. Keep in mind that the customer's feelings of certainty are not set in stone during the sales process. Their current state of certainty or uncertainty can be changed based on being influenced during the sale. For instance, the customer may think your product is crappy, but then you show them all of the social proof and celebrities using it. Then all of a sudden there will be a shift in their feelings of certainty around your product that could make them jump up to a 5 or a 7 level of certainty in a split second. So it's a progression. Your consumer may start not liking your product, but as you do your sales pitch they warm to the idea and are persuaded by the sales pitch. All humans buy a product or service for the reason of positive intent, which is to say they are looking for a product or service that will make their life better or provide a logical positive in their life. If they think your product is crap, then they think that your product will make their life worse, then you have no chance of closing the deal. The second 10 is you. The customers must trust and have a connection with you. Offending the customer, saying the wrong information, smelling of a cheap aftershave, having a messy haircut, or any little thing that can essentially alienate the customer, then you've blown the sale, even if they love your product. If your prospect does not trust you, then there is zero chance of a sale. It comes down to the customer liking you. Do they trust you, and do they connect with you on a personal level? Do they believe that you understand them and treat them like a person and not just another customer? Does the customer think that you're after their money and you don't give a shit about them or their needs, or is it purely about your needs for another sale? Basically, you can't bullshit the customer or there will be no sale even if your product is great and they love it. So in short, you want to get your prospect to close as possible to 10 in their feelings for your product and you at this point in the sale. The third 10 is the prospect must trust and connect with the company or brand selling the product. Does the prospect trust and like the company that you work for? Negative reviews, newspaper reports are enough to make the customer worry or think twice about buying. Having loyal existing customers is a perfect example of this. If EasyJet gave exceptional service for their customer when stranded at the airport, this gives them a far greater chance of repeat purchases in the future as there is trust there between the customer and the brand. Selling to loyal and existing customers is a lot easier as the third component of the sale is already in place. You simply have to get the first two pieces in place. Trust can also be established through ethical causes. Amazon's Smile charity donation, Asda's food bank donation scheme, environmentally friendly products, biodegradable and sustainable sourcing of packaging are just some examples of how brands build a positive image and trust in their customers' mind. A point worth mentioning is that if the customer already trusts the company that you work for, then this will heavily affect the feelings of certainty around your new product and you in the sales process. The important thing to remember is that the prospect will always go into a sales process somewhere on the certainty scale. The customer will always have a preconceived notion of your product, you and your company before going into the sale or shop. It's your job to get them to close to 10 as you can in your sales pitch. However, you're not going to please everybody. Some sales will go well and others not so well because the customer is simply at a different points on the certainty scale in the 3 areas. In essence, to be a successful salesperson, we are aiming to get as high as a score in certainty in your product, you and the brand. However, there are 2 types of certainty. One is logical certainty and the other is emotional certainty. Logical certainty is facts, figures and benefits of your product. Do these rational and logical benefits add up for the prospect and provide a benefit for them? It looks at the product from a sober, non-emotional perspective. Does the product meet their needs? Is the product fairly priced? And is it worth the cost for the benefits gained? Emotional certainty is based on a customer's personal emotional craving for a product. Here you are essentially painting a picture in your customer's head of what it would feel like to have this craving fulfilled, the emotional payoff from buying the product. Emotional certainty is done through getting the customer to imagine a point in the future where they are using the product and feeling good, satisfied and happy as a result of having your product. This is called future pacing. Future pacing is simple getting the customer to play a movie in their head by enabling them to visualize what it feels like to have the product, allowing them to experience the product's amazing benefits along with the positive feelings they desire right then and there, without actually having it. It is very important that you use these 2 components together. The emotions drive the decision making, however, the logic is used to justify the decision being made. What usually happens when you have too much logic and not enough emotion is that the customers will say it sounds great, but I will think about it, or I will get back to you tomorrow. Their logical mind has been satisfied, but their gut feelings around the product, you or the company, are not quite there yet. When you have strong emotion but little logic, then it sounds too airy-fairy, and your logical mind does not buy it, so there is a push and pull going on whether to buy it or not. Ultimately, at every stage of the straight-line sales process, you are aiming to satisfy the customer's feelings of certainty in the logical and emotional parts of their brain. The product, you and the brand, has to have the customer's feelings of certainty in the logical and emotional. Prospecting your customer. One of the cornerstone principles to using the straight-line method is that all prospects must be interested in the product you are selling. You are not selling to everybody thinking that. This is a magical mind trick that gets sales. This only works on customers who already have shown an interest in the product. Identifying those prospects before the sales process is half the battle. Objections are merely a smokescreen to the customer's lack of certainty in one of the 3 areas. Objections are a graceful way for the prospect to use common excuses to bow out of the interaction, gracefully vs being honest and saying that they are not 100% certain about the product, you or the company's image.